Please definitely. Oh no, you have to. I invite you. Shall we start?
Yeah.
We always said no, business planning was a complicated subject, but I think today's speaker has made it playbook. Playbook means what? It's like playing some electronic game. So I think you seem to have got some other keys to how to make business planning very easy subject to talk and also to practice. I remember during the business excellence programs, we used to have business planning as a chapter number 3 on all Malcolm Baldrige or any other or European model or all different kinds of model. There will be a business planning which is important, and short-term planning and long-term planning. I mean those kind of things. And then long-term became short-term, and is now maybe a daily planning perhaps. That kind of thing. I remember earlier the 5 years used to be a long-term and 3 years used to be short-term. It became to 3 and 1, and now with AI and all those kind of technology, things are actually moving to very low side. Maybe one month and maybe 6 months, something like that. So today we have. So playbook is really a different kind of world. We never thought this will be something to do with business planning, because it was considered to be a very serious aspect. Only MDs and vice presidents will be involved, and maybe some department heads. So as we know, change is only the constant thing, and that's how we have come from 3 years, maybe 5 years to 3 years to maybe 1 month now. And today, even the business environment is changing. So that's why we have got Sachin with us. And I got him through the Bombay Chamber of Commerce. And Revati Khare, one of our common contact, he suggested his name. And actually, I just called him when he was on the way to Pune. So, but we did talk, and we have now Sachin with us today. And he is going to cover 3 areas: understanding changes in the business environment. We have all gone through that, but actually we are going to have much more detailed study on how it has changed and what is the current situation and how to evaluate readiness for change. Because many companies, even individuals, are not prepared to change, right? I remember when I was in Aurangabad, here in Bombay, I had 2 secretaries. In Aurangabad, we went there, my bosses said we have to have secretary which is worked in Dabur Academy. Now, in Aurangabad, where can I get Dabur Academy secretary? So I had to type myself. No, I think what boss said is you type yourself instead of telling me, no. I mean, that's the way the life is. So I became expert. I mean, in managing my office work. The other thing is making a new business plan. So about him, Dr. Bide, he has been the strategy designer for engineering services and the founder of Pune-based IHA management company. I think you are mainly dealing initially with the industrial engineering type of projects, right?
No, actually it's strategy engineering.
Strategy engineering.
Not knowing.
So nothing to do with engineering.
Correct.
So then you just put a strategy, Why engineering? Why strategy, technology, study science?
Because there are many experts who know the theory part of it, but they can't actually implement it. And there are
I understand, but in strategy engineering, I think you always feel something to be engineering. So this is again a change, He has co-authored case study with HBR and has written a number of books. Can you show the books?
Yes. So this is one of the book that I have authored on business planning. So it's available for anybody who would like to purchase. You can do that for 200 bucks.
And also he has received Best Speaker and Best Table Topic Master Award at Toastmaster Club in California. So that is very very positive thing. Not many of us would have, like some of us maybe have done TED Talks. I think some of them maybe a TED Talk, but not beyond that. But that is also important, right? He has completed a large number of assignments in training and his opinion is. But last time when I contacted you, you had just completed Bombay Chamber training program that day.
No, that day I had a client meeting.
Okay.
This program was done, I think, in 2019.
Okay. The Bombay Chamber of Commerce is a very resourceful organization. In fact, I keep on telling our friends in Ghana Management Forum, if you have to copy some organization, it has to be a Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industry, not BMA, not anything. I mean, I also was secretary of BMA, I know how it works. So, but anyway, he is still connected with Bombay Chamber of Commerce. You are lucky. There are a lot of people. In fact, people like Harish Nurmani were sitting next to us. I mean, can you imagine this kind of situation to have in life? He has completed his PhD in marketing and is certified in organization analysis course by Stanford University and something foundation for project management course by Google, right? We are happy that he has accepted our request and he is with us today. And without any ado, so let me now hand over. First of all, welcome Sachin and Kelly.
Just before that, I would like to thank the chamber.
Okay.
The forum, sorry, Thane Management Forum, and just one book to the forum. Actually, there are two books from English and Marathi.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
The forum is yours.
Yes, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I have two news items for you, which are really breaking news, but one is good and one is bad.
Oh.
You would like to hear good one or bad one first? Good one first. Okay, so the good news is that today for business planning we have many tools available which will help us to plan business in a better way. And now you can guess the bad news. The bad news is that actually business planning is becoming more and more complex than what we used to have earlier. So welcome to the session. If you see this image on the cover slide is designed, it's totally artificial intelligence generated image. So I had just given text inputs to the tool and tool generated the entire image. Okay, so this is all practical, can be done free of cost, which was not possible 10 years back, but is practical now.
Thank you.
Akramena nupayena karmarambona siddhati. If we don't have order in what we do, we are bound to fail. So anything if we want to succeed, we should have a plan to do that. And there are many who will say that, I don't plan my life, I don't plan my business, I'm just successful, and everything just happened, and you need not get into so much of thinking and planning and resources and all that. But the reality is that if you want to succeed at anything, there is certain amount of planning or orderly behavior is expected. And this is nothing new. Indian ethos already had the concept in mind. We are just probably are seeing new forms of knowledge, but we already had that knowledge. Start. So just to give you an idea about components of a typical business plan, and we will also discuss where all business planning is used. The typical components of business plan, number one, it is a roadmap basically for achieving or providing a direction. So your organization wants to double the revenue, increase its headcount, reduce cost, add value, improve quality, whatever may be your objective or end goal. But we should have a roadmap to do that. Do you know what is India's business plan? Goal. 5 trillion. And anybody knows how much we have achieved?
4 trillion. 3.4 I think. 3.9.
Are we following the right track? So it is a roadmap is available. Achieving collectively such a large goal is definitely very complex, but at least there is a plan to it. Second most important is there should be a written document or in some or the other form. I am not saying it should be a document only. You may audio record your plan, you may video record your plan. So it doesn't matter in what way, but there should be some kind of a documentation of it. Third, each business plan should have a goal, and many a times there will be more than one goal. And I'm going to share different organizations at different life stages will have different types of goals. So each business plan should have a goal, like India has a goal to have a 5 trillion economy. Next is methods. There are different methods to achieve our business plan. Somebody wants to develop a new product, so innovation is required. Somebody wanted to come out with a newer service. Newer innovations are required in service quality. Somebody is looking for changing the existing industry. So more and more complex activities, more and more business planning is required. So there needs to be a proper method as to how you are going to achieve the business goal that you have set. Next one is the time frame. Each business plan is for a specific time frame. The moment you change the time frame, your plan will change. Because as we have been seeing, the business environment is changing really rapidly. Next is nature of business. The moment you change nature of your business, the way you are preparing your business plan will change. So somebody just maybe after a pandemic had decided to come out with a bakery based on lockdown experience of cooking cakes. So for that person, the business planning is totally different than, let's say, Britannia or somebody deciding, or I believe Nescafe, that De Laguna coffee, new type of a coffee people used to prepare in lockdown. They started selling that ready-made coffee mixture, which I believe failed for some companies, but again called for different kind of a business planning. Organizational background. Each organization has a background. Each organization's management team has a background. You will find there are some organizations which are created based on one organization. Like many people from particular company went out and created a newer company. And there are many examples of such organizations. So in IT, Mindtree, and so on. So there are many examples that I can quote. And financial projections. Business plan typically have focus on also achieving the financial outcomes, because without revenue, without profitability, without margins, everything else is of no use. Unless and until we are generating revenue, unless and until we are creating jobs, we are not into business or entrepreneurship as such. So there are various types of organizations which will use business plan. Most basic I can talk about is startups. Why I am saying basic is because many startups will look for funding in initial days, and that funding they will get based on the business plan that they have created. So in startup world, business planning is very much important. It's kind of eligibility criteria. In fact, some countries will grant you business visa considering that you have a business plan. So that much of importance is there in the startup world. You must be aware of Startup India initiative. So for all such activities, having a business plan is very important. We go next step, feasibility. For many products, many services, feasibility study is very important. You are coming out with a new product for which new research and development is required, which may call for newer factory setup altogether. So feasibility is very much important, and for that also you need to have a business plan. So many large organizations who have big products, consider example of Hindustan Unilever or ITC. So there are some products itself revenue is 1,000 crore or more. So if they are coming out with a newer product, their feasibility plan is very big. So how to do that again calls for a business planning. Some organizations use it for internal purpose. Consider large organizations like Tata Group, Godrej Group, and so on. Each business is a very complex business in itself, and each is calling for a different set of business plan than other business. So consider for Tata Group, the TCS business plan will be different than Tata Steel and will be different from some other group company, right? Acquisitions. There are many organizations which are continuously acquiring newer companies, newer products, newer services. That also calls for a business plan. Again, take example of Tata, who had created Air India, and then it became a government organization, and again it is now owned by Tatas. So when it is again owned by Tatas, definitely they will be having a different business plan for the airline itself. Repositioning. Many organizations, large organizations, reposition themselves. So 25 years back, ICICI was not known in retail banking. But today it is a very known brand in retail banking. Why? Because they repositioned themselves to be a retail banker. Like that, in every industry sector, there are companies who want to reposition themselves. Somebody wants to, from economic sector, they want to become a luxury brand, and so on. So consider example of Tata Group again taking over Range Rover, group, Jaguar. So again, it is a different kind of acquisition, which again called for repositioning the brand itself. Many automobile sector today are going towards battery operated cars or vehicles. Again, that calls for repositioning, because earlier you were having a different set of standards. Today you are having different set of standards or goals as such. And for every organization, or for that matter individual also, growth is very important. Typically with many successful organizations or people, there can set in a complacency that I have achieved whatever has to be achieved. Then your growth actually stops, and many times you will get into a reverse gear. And we have seen many examples or scenarios where organizations were so successful, so popular, we thought that these organizations will never go out of business. Consider example of Kodak or Nokia or BlackBerry, and many other examples are there. We thought that they are not going to go out, but they go out. Why? Because of lack of either business planning, or the quality of business plans was not up to the mark. Many large organizations have just one component that is called as a business plan. They have a bigger component available. So I am giving you an example of Tata Steel. So Tata Steel is a very large organization which sits inside a very large group, which is Tata Group. And many of you will also be knowing the history of Tata Steel, that how because of World War there was a need to have railroads and many other things, and there was big demand for steel, and Jamshedji Tata identified that opportunity, started Tata Steel, and rest is the history. But if we look at how business planning is one component of bigger organization, the great example is this, which is taken from annual report of Tata Steel. You can simply go to their website, check their annual report. This diagram will be available to you. So if we look at how the thought process goes for large organization, all of you know that it starts with vision, mission and values. So vision is basically how you are trying to achieve something which is beyond a sight of a normal human being. I'll give you an example of Tata Institute. The other name is Indian Institute of Science. So the vision for that actually came from, are you aware? The vision for Indian Institute of Science came from whom?
Swami Vivekananda.
So this was just one chance dialogue between Jamshedji Tata and Swami Vivekananda. And then he said that India should have one university which is focused on science. And just imagine achieving something for which you may not be having funds or expertise or land also. Are you aware who has donated land for Indian Institute of Science? Maharaja of Mysore. Who had done the entire setup of the university? Actually, it's all British setup that is being done. So Britishers actually provided the support to set up the institute, Science Institute in India at that time when there was no other well-known institute or university as such was available in India at that point of time. So this was based on the vision. And what I am trying to say is that an ordinary person will see whatever is in our reach. Extraordinary will see whatever is beyond our reach. Another example maybe I can give you is Tesla. Everybody is aware of. So you can still go to Tesla's website and check one blog in which Elon Musk had given a clear vision of what Tesla wants to achieve, and has done exactly as per the vision as to how they are coming out with first vehicle, then second vehicle, then third vehicle, and so on. So all big organizations will have to maybe revisit their vision also, followed by mission and values. So if you look at any organization today, their mission is somewhere or the other is connected to environment, connected to well-being, connected to sustainability. So this is all changed because earlier the focus was profit, the focus was revenue, the focus was jobs. Today not only as an individual but as organizations also, we try to become more and more responsible towards nature. So you will find that coming as part and parcel of mission. And third is values. So we are all driven by our values, and there are numerous values that we have, but organizations will have set of values, and all decisions are aligned to vision, mission and values. So you will find that any employee who progresses in his or her career is actually aligned to that organization's vision, mission and value. Next layer is where the strategy development happens. Many organizations, large organizations, have a separate department or a team which is actually looking towards designing a strategy, implementing, evaluating and so on. But many medium and small organizations don't have any department as such for strategy development and designing. That's where a person like me comes into picture, what I call it as a strategy engineering. What is strategy engineering is not only knowing the concepts but also implementing those on ground, taking feedback again from practice to theory and creating different model so that you can keep on inventing the wheel. So strategy development, strategic objectives and enablers. So each organization will again going to have a strategic objective. So strategy development process itself is complex, that can be broken down into different pieces. So there can be long-term objectives and there can also be short-term objectives. All this is continuously impacted by numerous aspects. So consider example of Tata Steel. They have mentioned material issues as one of the important aspects. So many, especially in manufacturing industry, raw material or your input is very much important. So if there is any scarcity, availability problems, your entire supply chain is going to get affected. Service industry, there are different set of problems, because having the right trained and skilled manpower, person power is again a different set of challenge. Again, there is an internal context to the organization or to the group also. So Tata Steel being part of Tata Group, whatever Tata Group as such has a bigger canvas, Tata Steel has to fit into that entire jigsaw puzzle as such. So you must have heard of, they have had come up with one app which is called as a mega app, where different products and services that you can take together. So this comes from a bigger strategy of an entire group as such. Then there is, sorry, yeah. Then there is leadership direction. You will find that some organizations are made by that particular leader, and that leader has big impact on organizations and many times on industry sectors also. So if I give you example of let's say TCS. So Dr. F.C. Kohli had not only big impact on TCS but entire industry sector as such. So if you look at the current Tata group chairperson N. Chandrasekhar, he was also CEO of TCS first and then became the chairperson of the entire group as such. So leadership definitely gives a certain kind of a direction to an organization. And there is an external context which is an external environment. It can be different aspects like political environment, economical, social. If you look at technological environment, the twist that is added to today's discussion is artificial intelligence. And in the end, I'm going to show you an example of how that can be used positively. Because unfortunately, media is very busy in communicating all the negatives about artificial intelligence. Every day, minimum one news item I read where artificial intelligence is negatively impacting somewhere.
The jobs are online, that's why.
Yeah. So, if I may add, whenever the calculators were introduced, there was resistance. When computers were introduced, there was resistance. And you may have observed actually the jobs have increased because of introduction of calculators and computers. And same is going to happen with artificial intelligence also. But media is busy in whatever they do. But we have to make sure that we are reading and watching right media. And that's why there are newer media platforms and channels, those are coming in. So if you talk to today's generation, they don't watch a TV channel. What they watch? YouTube channel or podcast or something else. So this again is connected to the strategy development, where actually your long-term plan will come into picture, and one component of that is become your annual business plan. Many organizations also have annual operating plan. So again, business plan can be called with different names. Some companies brand their business plans also. So they have a name or a sankalpa for that. And that is connected to your key result areas for your organization or for your department or a team or for you as an individual also. So this is how the bigger picture looks, especially in terms of where the business plan affects or where the business plan plays in a bigger organization.
In the previous slide, the 2 arrows which were coming from.
So that is a feedback loop.
Yes.
That is a feedback loop from external environment. So this is another example of Polestar, which is a Swedish electric performance car company. So this company has recently announced business plan and funding update, and we will just have a look at highlight of what they are trying to achieve. Number one is they want to prioritize margin progression over volume. Rather than selling more cars, they want to focus on increasing the profit per car or a margin per car. Second, reduction of the funding need. Since it's typically a battery operated car and kind of a startup, they are always looking for funding. But it seems that they may have reached a level where they are not necessarily looking for funding as such. So they want to reduce that. Third, they want a better product mix. So you will find that many companies, like take example of Ola, typically a earlier car rental company, then auto rental company, then are you aware they are into electric scooters. So we may have never given it a thought that a company like Ola will come out with an electric scooter, but they do have one. Next one is reducing the cost. Cost reduction is a big drive across different organizations, but especially for battery car company, there is a totally different aspect within automobile industry when we look at the battery operated car, because of number of reasons. Number one is having right kind of a battery, right kind of a manufacturer or supplier for that, right kind of a software. So many times it's over the air update to your vehicle. So if I want to give you an example, what Tesla had done few years back is that there was one particular thunderstorm coming in US in particular region, and at that point of time they over the air increased the capacity of their car batteries. This is only possible battery operated vehicle, or your car software will get updated automatically like your phone or your computer. That is not available in internal combustion engine vehicles right now. So you can look at the different paradigm as such, and the challenges definitely they are going to face are very different than the challenges that IC engine vehicles are facing. They are also focusing on new joint venture in China, because China is a different story for many organizations. So their focus especially is very different in terms of new joint venture. Improving the profitability in US, world's biggest market, North America. So again they are looking for more profitability and headcount reduction. Because definitely they are, when they are trying to cut costs, they are definitely looking at one aspect is where they maybe look for headcount reduction. At the same time, they will look for better output from the existing team. Now, all these items that I am sharing are available in public domain. We just have to look for how the organization is behaving and what plans that they are making. I am now going to give you a very different example as such. So this example is not for profit company, but from a government department. Similar to regional transport office that we have RTO, in UK there is a driver and vehicle licensing agency, and they also have an annual business plan. Entire plan is available on their website. The presentation includes link to the actual website. Anybody by the way wants the presentation, just send me an email or a text, I will mail you the presentation. This entire business plan, including all the numbers, is available on the website of this organization. I'm just going to share the themes that they have for business plan. 4 themes as such. Number 1, customer centric. How a department which is basically doing driving licenses, vehicle registration, how they can be customer centric. Isn't it something different for us?
Unlike ours.
Very different from us. But what I liked basically is that they have put that as number 1 goal. And you can look at the kind of expectations the developed economies will have from an organization. Second, a dynamic digital organization. Digital is a common thing you will find across different organizations, but especially such a government department, for having a digital organization, they will have to create different systems which will involve hardware, which will involve software and so on. Third, data driven. So for that to happen, again you need to capture data at different points, whether somebody is applying for a driving license or whether somebody is doing registration for his or her vehicle. At every touch point there is newer and newer data point is coming in. And fourth, which is again very good to have, is great place to work. Because today's philosophy is that we are not just working for earning, but we are working for earning plus enjoying our time also. Because earlier generations, definitely it was a very tough situation, or almost 4 or 5 siblings in one family. The eldermost was actually doing education for rest of the team. So there were numerous challenges. If you find today's generation, so they don't have these challenges, they have different set of challenges, but what they are focusing on, great place to work, which is again part and parcel of business plan, which is very surprising. Not many will have this as a part and parcel of their business plan. So business planning is not only used by commercial organizations, but is used by government organizations also. Another example from Brazil, Petrobras lifts business plan by 31% in major shift under a new leadership. So it's a petroleum company, Brazilian company. I'll just tell you the numbers and then you will understand the scale. New 5-year budget for 24-28 is $102 billion. Many organizations don't have that much revenue also. Oil giant to spend 11.5 billion on energy transition projects. Now look at the 4 important components of a business plan. Number 1, major shift away from cost control strategy. Till now this organization focused on cost control. Now they are definitely are seeing in horizon of next 5 to 10 years big growth, and that's why they are pumping a lot of money in the organization. So budget rose from $24 billion to $102 billion, which is 4 times high, is big expectations in terms of the performance, and same input in terms of budgeting. Third aspect, largest spending since 2015. And all of us know that from 2020 March onwards, next 2 years and next 2 years after that, as Sir rightly said, entire business dynamics for many have changed. So they are spending so much after year 2015, which is a big and important aspect to understand. So anybody who wants to be a supplier to this organization, anybody who wants to work with such organization in a full-time job, in a contractual job, or whatever may be the different stakeholders as such, if you read an organization's business plan, you can identify where you fit. And that is why business planning is very important, not only as a planner, but as an end user of a plan also.
Yes.
Everything is based on a simple rule, definitely, but for Steve Jobs. Quality is the best business plan, period. But is it practical for everybody? All organizations?
Yes. That depends upon how you define quality.
Exactly, because
different levels of quality.
quality is again a relative term, right? But you can now find out in market who commands the highest price, and people are ready to pay more for latest
Apple.
products.
Yeah.
So it is whatever the plan he had in one sentence is definitely working right now, and for numerous years together. So when we are talking about business planning, such a simple vision statement in terms of what the business plan should achieve as an end result speaks volumes.
This particular quality is the best business plan. If it is so successful for a given organization, can be adopted by any other organization.
Absolutely.
But according to me, it depends upon how you define quality for your organization.
Yes. That's why I said it's a relative term. Somebody still can say that we will provide moderate quality hardware, software at lower price, or we'll have affordable products or gadgets or whatever. So that is where we are talking about unique selling proposition of an organization, or for that matter individual or a department or a team also. You may have heard about the latest CEO change at OpenAI, which is an organization who created ChatGPT. So CEO went out
And came back.
Microsoft shares those.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because Microsoft has invested heavily in OpenAI, and if you look at it, actually, artificial intelligence. Anybody knows in which year the first AI experiment happened?
Actually, Turing.
Year.
Alan Turing,
Year.
1942.
So first experiment, I believe, happened in 1954, wherein the experiment was with the help of artificial intelligence to identify the four corners of a square. This was a basic experiment that happened. Yes, Alan Turing, as computer science, he has contributed a lot, but this is what I heard, that was the first experiment for artificial intelligence, and now you can see today the capability is humongous. So also the same organization is also one of the most profitable company on earth. Because they are focusing on quality, they can command higher price, and they have positioned their product at such a level that people are willing to pay more and more, and you are getting the output. But it is definitely, as you rightly said, its quality is relative, and not every organization will be able to achieve that also. I believe it's a true statement for life also, that any business plan won't survive its first encounter with reality. The reality will always be different. It will never be the plan. So what had happened is that when I was thinking about business planning, and which is the next book I can probably write, I read one news item saying that one regional transport office had given business planning project to a big consulting organization, where they had spent a lot of money, and end result we are all aware of what they achieved. At that point of time, I was thinking that why our government is not hiring made in India consultancies, and that's where I thought of writing this book, Designing Effective Business Plan. Is many a times the business planning models available are very complex, and what happens is that people are more enthralled and engaged and entertained with the complexity rather than achieving the results. So in this book you will read that I have created a jet engine model of business planning, very similar to the way in 4 steps the jet engine works, the business plan also works. The idea is that how we can connect it to the reality, and many times you must have also experienced while launching a new product, launching a new service, hiring a new person, coming out with newer innovations. you thought that this will work, and reality it did not work, and that becomes part and parcel of our experience. Either I succeed or I learn. So that is the motto that all of us should follow. That is what Nelson Mandela said. Either I succeed or I learn. No mention of the word failure. So this is the true power of networking. Most venture capitalists won't read a business plan unless the entrepreneur is introduced to them by a contact. Why? Because when you have a reference, whether you are hiring an employee, you are talking about marriage, you are always trying to find a connection. And how I can get hold of somebody who will vouch for somebody. So this is a very good quote which talks about having a business plan also is not necessarily an important aspect. Having a good network to use that business plan is also a very important aspect. So if I go back to the previous quote, Jeff Bezos, you must have seen his face. Do you know on what single data point that he started Amazon?
Convenience, I think.
No.
Degree of convenience.
No.
Book.
No. No.
Series.
No. Growth rate of internet users. He saw the number, decided. Otherwise, he was very successful at investment banking. There was no need for him to venture into a startup also.
Basically, they were all early movers.
Early mover.
Big advantage.
So, having a network is also very important for business planning, whether it's a startup or a grown-up also.
Actually, networking and external resources of information is a part of resource for business plan.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Part of business plan.
Absolutely. And it will not work. You can have excellent plan, but it will not work without right set of network. There is a very good quote by Peter Drucker: "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." I will repeat: culture eats strategy for breakfast. That means you can have great strategy, bad culture. What will happen? Your business or a product will fail. You can have average strategy, great culture. You will succeed. So there are many aspects to business planning, and as you rightly said, to networking also, which will make sure that you will succeed in your endeavor, whether it's a startup or a grown-up organization. It doesn't matter. Again, this image